Welcome to the Osmo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal Emac coming to you with one Adam Ship My Money Share, the world traveler. Adam Share, who's been you took your talents to South Beach. Is that a fair statement for your last week?
Yeah, didn't quite make it to South Beach this time. That was back in February, but close enough. So yeah, had a good time in Miami.
Excellent. Well, we've got some interesting baseball. We're in full swing here. We've got NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and you can get live before lock for NBA with Fast Eddie Fear. The hour before tip off, you get Jake is running out his NHL playoff shows, which have been very, very lucrative for me. So I'm enjoying that. A couple of our competitors shut down their playoff content for NHL. I'm surprised, Adam. I'm really surprised, and frankly, I'm a little disappointed. But I guess that just makes it better for us. If you found Osmo, you got the good stuff. Use promo code EarlyBird, all one word, to get 50% off any 1 month package. We do have projections for NHL, and we also have rankings from Alex Baker himself for value, for points, and then he ranks all of the line combinations. So that's something that's been very, very helpful for me because apparently people aren't paying attention. But let's get into baseball here, Adam. We do have we're going to do the early slate. So both of the big sites are running just as of now, and we're recording this on Wednesday night, but they each have well over $250,000 in prize pools in their tournament. So we're going to focus on the 4 games. We're going to go game by game, and that is going to be a 12:10 Eastern start. We, of course, will have the DFS strategy show at 9:15. For that one, we'll go game by game through all of the matchups, and I believe that will be with Dave Loughran and Josh Engelman, and that will be about 9:15 on Thursday morning. So let's get into this here, Adam. It's kind of an intriguing slate because everything's going to be a little bit different. We have 8 pitchers. So for DraftKings in Yahoo, shout out to Yahoo, by the way, who's now the presenting sponsor of the Early Bird Podcast. We've got 8 pitchers to choose from on the 2 pitcher sites, which is going to be at first a little tricky, but no one's really standing out in this early slate. So let's go here with Arizona and Atlanta. That's the first game going off. You've got Luke Weaver, who's going to have to tangle with that very, very lengthy Atlanta lineup that just seemingly has hitters at every single position now with the everybody being healthy and with Josh Donaldson. On the other side, you've got Touki Toussaint going out there for the Braves. I'm actually interested in Toussaint going against the Diamondbacks here. Now, he has, I think, 1 start thus far this season. He had, it wasn't even a start. So he went 6 innings in his only outing, and then last year he made 5 starts, pitched in 7 games total. Kind of got smacked around just a little bit. I mean, he did allow 13 runs in 29 innings, but he had 32 strikeouts. The issues were mostly with his walks, where he had 21 walks. But I kind of like him. He's been on prospect lists for a while, Adam. Let's start off here with Touki. What are you thinking about him and your plans for Thursday's early slate?
Yeah, I mean, pretty good stuff for him. I don't know what his price is because he's not listed on the site that I'm looking at, but it does appear that he'll make the start. He has made 1 start at AAA this year, went 3 innings. Last season pitched 29 innings with the Braves, made 5 starts, struck out 26%, walked 17%. The walk's obviously an issue, and that's something that's plagued him throughout the minor leagues. Steamer projects him for 9.25 strikeouts per 9 innings, but also 4.75 walks per 9. So that you're running the risk of him putting some extra guys on base, but there certainly is upside for him. He has good stuff. It's not the most intimidating matchup against Arizona, and with it being a 4-game slate, not the most pitching options either.
All right, he is 86 on DK over here on FanDuel. I'm just calling that up. He is... let's see. Why is he not showing up on FanDuel? Oh, interesting. He's not in the FanDuel player pool. Let's uncheck only probable pitchers. There he is. He's 7,700. So I'm assuming he is going to be starting because that's what I've got on Major League Baseball's homepage as well as ESPN. So reasonably priced there, but it's decision points because we're gonna see a little bit of sticker shock. But as you find out, there's really nobody that we really need to be paying for, or so it looks like on this early slate. And there's also, conversely, not a ton of offenses that I think we're going to be chasing. So it'll be a fun one. If we look over on the other side, I'm not a fan of Luke Weaver, particularly in this matchup. I'm even looking at the Braves as one of my more intriguing places where I want to get some of my hitters from. Adam, how do you feel about Luke Weaver, yay or nay?
I'm good. Like you said, there's not a ton of expensive bats to pay for on this slate. I don't think Luke Weaver's that good of a pitcher. I don't like taking pitchers against Atlanta, so I'll pass on Weaver. I'd rather get to someone, if I'm going in that price range, like a Drew Pomeranz for a little bit more, or just take like huge savings and go to a Clay Buchholz or something. I don't really see the need in going to Weaver.
All right, then let's talk some bats here. You've got, of course, Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna Jr., Josh Donaldson, Nick Markakis, Johan Camargo may or may not be in the lineup depending on what they're doing here. That's some nice little starting points for the Braves. So I think we don't have to overanalyze it because those are all good options there. On the other side here for the Diamondbacks, and then I'll let you give your thoughts here. I just got to sort my Excel file. So Diamondbacks going against the righties. David Peralta kind of grades out as probably their best hitter now that Paul Goldschmidt and AJ Pollock are no longer with the team. Eduardo Escobar and Adam Jones are a little bit behind him. They will not have the platoon advantage in this righty-righty matchup. Wilmer Flores has just been incredibly disappointing for about the last calendar year, Adam. And then you've got Christian Walker. Book's still out on him, or there's not much of a book on him. He's only played in about 35 games thus far, and he has been reasonable. And that's not much of a ringing endorsement here. But if we're going to be attacking Toussaint here, I think it's going to mostly start and end with Peralta. Granted, limited sample size here for Toussaint, but in his last 60 lefty-righty matchups, he has allowed a 20% walk rate, 22% strikeout rate, and has not allowed a home run. But the walk rate's just concerning there, as we mentioned at the top. What do you like here from either offense?
Yeah, I mean, from the Arizona side, I have interest in Escobar and David Peralta. Both of those guys, reasonably good hitters, especially Peralta. But I'm more interested in the Atlanta side where they are expensive, but they should be able to put the ball in play against Luke Weaver. I like Freddie Freeman. I like Ronald Acuna a lot. I don't have a problem with Josh Donaldson either. Mini stacking or full stacking Atlanta, I think makes sense.
All right, so let's get on to our next game here. We have the San Francisco Giants finishing up their series here in Washington against the Nationals. Drew Pomeranz taking the hill for the Giants. Patrick Corbin on the other side here for San Francisco. Now, Corbin is probably the best pitcher on the slate here. He can be a little bit up or down. There are more strikeouts than what we are used to seeing from the Giants. However, the Giants are not a bad team offensively, as we always tend to see when they're in their home park for half the season. So this is one where I like Corbin. He's going to be the guy I want. But if I don't think I'm starting, my plans or building my plans around him in particular, Adam. Just if I get him, great. If I don't, I'm fine with that as well. Because most of these teams played on Wednesday night, we could see a fair number of backup catchers or fourth or fifth outfielders, which will help alleviate any little salary concerns we have. But Corbin is 10-8 on FanDuel. He is, which is the most expensive pitcher. He is 10-3 on DraftKings, and then over on Yahoo. Let's get to their contests. Sorry about that. Should have had that open. He is the most expensive pitcher at 50. Are you feeling good about earmarking such a large portion of your salary cap to him?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think Corbin is pretty clearly the number one pitcher on the slate, and it's a really good matchup against San Francisco. It is a positive park shift for San Francisco hitters, like you said, but still not a lot of really good ones in that lineup. And, getting guys like Tyler Austin in there does increase the strikeout upside as well. Plus, there's a good chance that Buster Posey won't be in the lineup because of the day game after the night game. Corbin has elite strikeout stuff. His price tag, I think, is still reasonable. And with, no game in cores on this slate, no Red Sox, no Yankees, really not too many places to spend up at hitter. I think that getting Corbin and then, rotating your SP2s depending on what you're doing hitter-wise and what price, what you can afford makes a lot of sense.
All right. Looking to the other side here, is Drew Pomeranz worthy of consideration as a potential SP2 amongst our many choices? Well, shoot, now I'm seeing Mike Soroka might be pitching here for Atlanta.
I've seen that too, but the last thing I saw was that it wasn't expected to be him and it's supposed to be Tukey.
Okay, thank you.
But it's could be wrong.
The conflicting starting pitchers the night before isn't supposed to happen for about another month, Adam. Yet here we are 3 weeks into the season and it's already happened twice this week. In any event, Drew Pomeranz will be facing a fair number of righties in the Washington Nationals lineup. Brian Dozier was not in the lineup on Wednesday, but I suspect he will be back there batting second in this matchup as long as he's healthy. Ryan Zimmerman, if he's going to play the day game after the night game, it's a fine option as well. Anthony Rendon, absolutely elite. And then who knows what the grab bag is going to bring from the rest of the Nationals. It could be Yan Gomes, but it's night game after or day game after night game. Wilmer Defoe will probably be in there because they don't have Trey Turner. We'll have to see what happens. But do you like Pomeranz at all? Because this isn't an overly scary Giant or Nationals lineup.
I have some interest in him. I am scared of the Nats lineup. Like Rendon's really good, obviously. Zimmerman's a power bat from the right side. We should have, I think Yan Gomes should be in there. I'm double checking, but Kurt Suzuki played last night, so we should have Yan Gomes in the lineup. Dozier should be back, like you said. So it is a right-handed heavy lineup. Pomeranz has been pretty good through his first 3 starts. He's struck out 26% in his last start against Colorado. And for the season, he has a 26% strikeout percentage. Park downgrade for him going into Washington. I think I'd rather take a chance on him than someone like Luke Weaver, like I had said before. Okay. I would put him behind Michael Pineda, but I would expect to have some Pomeranz exposure in tournaments.
Okay, and that's fine. I've more or less crossed off Luke Weaver from even coming into my plans at all. But starting to look, trying to find some guys with any strikeout upside, kind of leads you there to Pomeranz. Not not the best, but not the worst either. He's got 25% strikeout rate against lefties over his last 250 he has faced. Against righties, it is 22% against the last nearly 900. So solid. Not spectacular, but someone that'll probably be in our plans. And I'm okay playing Nationals against him as well. Moving on to game number, 3. Toronto Blue Jays. This one is in Minnesota. The first pitch temperature will be at 48 degrees. We've got Clay Buchholz and Michael Pineda going against each other. 2 guys that have lost most of the last few seasons to injuries, other maladies, etc. Buchholz, always was a solid pitcher, but never fully realized all of the expectations he had, even with that no-hitter when he was with Boston. Pineda the same way, disappointed across a lot of teams here between the Mariners, the Yankees. Now he's on the Twins. He's interesting because there is some strikeout upside, and this is not a scary Toronto lineup, as we have learned over the last couple weeks here, Adam. There's not a lot of boom in the bats. So talk to me about Pineda. Talk to me about Buchholz here. The weather is definitely pitching friendly at that temperature.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Pineda here. He's my second favorite pitcher behind Corbin, where I can afford both of them. I feel really good about that. Toronto's been really bad this year offensively, like you said. There's nothing really to be too scared of in this lineup. Like, they have some power in there, but they also have plenty of strikeouts. Pineda has always had really good stuff. So, I think that he's one of the best pitching plays on the slate. He's coming off of his start against Detroit, where he threw 96 pitches in 6 innings. So that was really good to see. I don't really have any reason not to like Pineda. And then on the other side, it's a tough matchup for Buchholz against a Minnesota lineup that has several hitters at the top that don't strike out very often. And then on top of that, they have some power in there as well. I do think the price tag's appealing on the 2 pitcher sites, just because he's so much cheaper than everyone else, and he's not terrible. If you go back to if you go back to the start of last season, a 264 expected wOBA, 107 expected ISO allowed to lefties, 342 and 189 to righties. Not a lot of swings and misses, but at that price tag, if he can just get us through 6 innings and not get blown up, he does enough if you're looking to get expensive bats in.
Yep, and just was testing that out on DraftKings where we have the 2 pitchers. He is, let's see, Pineda's the 3rd most expensive pitcher. He is 2nd most on FanDuel, and he is 2nd most on the early slate there for Yahoo. On DraftKings, if you put both he and Corbin in the lineup, you're going to have 3,900 a piece for the rest of your hitters. All you need to get is 1 discounted catcher. Let's just pop in, I don't know, someone that's 3,500, see what that does. Put in Yan Gomes, and now we've got $4,000 per spot to play with. So you'll have to not even really sacrifice the rest of your spots, but you may need to forego someone like Acuna or Juan Soto, etc. When you're building this out, or Anthony Rendon. But otherwise, there's a lot of options that are very nicely priced in that $4,000 range. So just a quick look at how you could build some potential lineups there. Looking to the hitters, as we mentioned, if there's going to be one-offs for us from Toronto, I suspect you'll join me with Smoke or Rowdy Tellez. Grichuk actually has decent power against same-handed pitching. On the other side, the Twins have a 4.6 implied run total. We've got a couple of them are off the board just because we don't know who is officially starting at pitchers right now. But what do you want to do here with the Twins? As we mentioned at the top of this analysis, not the best weather there, but their lineup it's not dangerous, but there's not a lot of easy outs in it either. Even 7, 8, 9's looking like it's going to be Jonathan Scope, Jason Castro, and Byron Buxton. I mean, those guys are mostly competent, shall I say?
Yeah, I think that they're probably my favorites full stack, maybe Washington ahead of them, even though I have some respect for Pomeranz. But like you said, just not a lot of easy outs. A nice combination of guys that put the ball in play and have some power, and then just pure power hitters like Nelson Cruz. Buchholz making his 2nd start of the season, so we're not really sure exactly what to expect from him. But like I had said before, he doesn't miss a lot of bats. So there, certainly a chance for Minnesota to do some damage here. Individually, I would single out Nelson Cruz as the number 1 guy, followed by Rosario, Polanco, and Kepler.
All right, moving on to our last one here of the early slate. Again, remember, you're going to get all of this in spades on the DFS strategy show that's over on the Osmo YouTube channel. Definitely check that out, subscribe, and then hit that notification bell so you will receive a pushed out notification each time we go live, because we are running out all sorts of content all day. We are running basically 3 baseball shows a day. We've got NBA playoff coverage, NHL playoff coverage. We run 2 golf shows a week. There is the Osmo Odds betting show on Fridays, and I believe our own Josh Engelman is going to be doing some stuff for Fantasy Cruncher. There's a new feature that they released today, Adam. You can now choose the batters based in your crunches and stacks, and limit them or leave out them by their batting order number. So if you don't want to have the 7, 8, 9 hitters in your stacks, you can get rid of them. If you wanted to do a wraparound stack, you could select just the 8, 9, 1, 2 to have some fun with that. So it's a nice little feature. So shout out there to Dave over at Fantasy Cruncher for putting that out as well. If you want to give Fantasy Cruncher a try, we do have it as an add-on here at Osmo, and if you use the promo code EARLYBIRD, all one word, you get 50% off any 1-month package, and you can select the Fantasy Cruncher option as well, and that's part of the half off in there, because they want you guys to get a chance to see how to work it, and they know that once you sign up for it, you're going to love it, and we do a lot of support for them in the Osmo Slack chat, so we can teach you how to use it and the different strategies. It's a lot of fun. Final game here of our 4-game slate, Adam. We've got the White Sox and we've got the Tigers. This one is in Detroit. Looks like it's going to be about 65 at first pitch. You've got Ivan Nova going against Daniel Norris. Is this Norris's first start? Because I do not remember saying his name.
I believe it is, yeah.
Yet this season. So let's check that out, because I need a little refresher. Did we decide he's never going to capitalize on his strikeout potential? and that he is the new Wade Miley, or is he someone that we can hope that he has just been struggling a little bit? Yeah, he's worked out of the bullpen 3 times, so he's gone 2 1/3, 3 innings in 3 innings. He's thrown 36, 50, and 58 pitches. So I would suspect we'll probably see him for what, 75, 80 pitches would be reasonable. Talk to me here about Norris in general.
I don't have interest in him today just because he's not stretched out, but he is someone who I've always liked his stuff. And we saw him kind of start to turn the corner last year before he was injured. Struck out 25.5% of hitters in 44 innings last season. Still had a 4.22 xFIP, which isn't, it isn't bad. It isn't great. But we did see him kind of start to turn a corner there. So I'm interested to see, how he looks going forward, but not interested in going to him here at, a $7,700 price tag.
Man, this is his 4th year with Detroit. Technically, he got traded partway through his 2nd season. I always envision him as a Toronto Blue Jay. He made 6 starts, 10 total appearances for 30 innings in his Blue Jays career, yet somehow I'm remembering him in a Blue Jays uniform as opposed to Detroit.
I can't believe he's still only 25, or I guess 26.
Yeah. Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, he seemingly gets dinged up. It just never can quite put everything together. His innings totals have been 6 in when he first got called up in 2014. Then he had 60 combined innings in 2015 between the Blue Jays and Detroit. Then he had 69, 101 last year, just 44. Again, as Adam mentioned, because he suffered an injury, but he's tantalizing in him being a lefty, and he does have strikeout ability. That's something that you always like, but it's just forever frustrating here. So anyway, that's funny. But I kind of agree with you with him not fully being stretched out, not overly exciting here. He's someone that you want to make sure that whatever projections you're using, take that into account, and you can usually back into that by looking, you want to. So I'm losing my words here. Most projection systems are based off of how many plate batter spaced that the pitchers are going to see. So you want to make sure that some of them that run out there early in the morning are taking into account that he may not be fully stretched out, and so meaning the projections may run a little high on him. So just be cognizant of that. On the other side, you got Ivan Nova, who, he's pitched in the majors for 11 years. Not very exciting for me. This isn't an overly dangerous Detroit Tigers lineup, but Castellanos, Cabrera, Goodrum, Stewart, Candelario, they're all solid. Bottom of the lineup's garbage, though, with Beckham, Griner, and Jacoby Jones. But are you interested at all in Nova?
Yeah, I didn't say anything about it at the top because I wanted to reward people who were listening all the way through, or not reward them depending on how it goes. But Ivan Nova's got a new pitch.
Oh, really?
He has been throwing, depending on what site you look at, it's listed as either a cutter or a slider. But he's thrown it to right-handed hitters this year 29% of the time. Did not throw it last year. He threw his curveball to them instead, which also was an effective pitch. Had a 16% swinging strike rate, allowed virtually no power. This year on that cutter slider, whatever, he has a 21.5% swinging strike rate. Overall, he has a 13.2% swinging strike rate to righties so far. Facing a Detroit team that has a lot of right-handed hitters and has a lot of strikeouts in the lineup. It's only a few starts, so we don't know exactly what to make of it. But this is the perfect kind of slate to roll him out there, assuming people are going to look at 7,200 for Nova and completely write it off. It's not like there's, slam dunk pitching. There's only 4 games. You have Pomeranz in a tough spot. You have Luke Weaver in a tough spot and not very good. You have Pineda, but he's $1,000 more looking at DraftKings pricing than Nova is. I like Nova quite a bit here. It's the perfect slate, I think, to take a stand on him in tournaments and hope that we get more of the same.
All right, there we go. Now I'm fully intrigued, because even if you're just looking at his numbers back to the beginning of 2017 season, he's got a 21% strikeout rate to righties, just 12.2 to lefties, 1.6 home runs per 9 to lefties. Let's see, against righties, 1.1. But this will be his 4th start on the season. He is stretched out, and he's already gone 93 pitches in 2 of his 3 starts. The other one was a somewhat abbreviated 2 1/3 innings. He did throw 72 pitches, but he got knocked around there by the Mariners, allowing 7 runs on just 8 base runners, and he has not allowed a home run yet this season, Adam, unlike Corbin Burns, who has now allowed 11.
Yeah, and also keep in mind the Detroit lineup. If I don't even know what lefties they have available outside of Goodrum, Stewart, and Candelario, but if they somehow do run out a bunch of lefties, then my opinion would change, because I still don't think he has a ton of strikeout stuff against lefties. But assuming they have the 6 righties in there, and you have guys like Beckham, Griner, Jacoby Jones that all strike out, and then 3 righties at the top that are harder strikeouts but that are still right-handed, I do like him. If you don't have him in a lineup, then going to the lefties, in particular Kristen Stewart, I think is a good play.
All right, that's going to wrap it up here. One feature that we haven't talked a ton about on the podcast, we do have office hours in the Slack chat, which has been a lot of fun. Alex Osmo, Alex Baker himself, holds court once a week. Adam's in there for designated times. Laffy is. I am. Josh Engelman. Golf is there both the night before the tournaments. We have Ben Rosva in there helping with some lineup construction and other thoughts. And then you also get Jason Roslin there on Saturday night for the big single day slates on Sunday. So that has been very popular, a lot of fun. That's all part of the premium package. So definitely give it some thought. Jump on in, check it out. It will be a good time. With that, you can follow Adam at ShipMyMoneyDFS on Twitter. I am at EmacDFS. It is Osmo_COM. And if you haven't noticed, there's a new Twitter handle out there. It's Osmo Weather, Adam. It's Osmo Weather. Fun part about that, it's actually Alex doing it. And did you know, I learned this last week. His dad's a weatherman or meteorologist.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there you go. So he's like, he goes, well, I always knew about it as a kid because it's what your dad does. And he said, I was always obviously a numbers geek. So he said, I'm totally into it. He goes, yeah, why don't we set something up here and we'll send out some of his thoughts on baseball weather. So check that out. He was there. They just launched that today and he was answering questions that people had. So we'll see. One more iron in the fire there for him, but it was kind of fun to see because the volume he plays out here in DFS, weather's very, very important for what he's doing. So he was listing in our projections, he lists the probability of rainouts or postponements or whatever it might be already, but he's taking it to that next level. So there you go, worth a follow. But we're going to get on out of here, gamers. So good luck.